What's up, guys? I want to make a video talking about food palatability and how it relates to dietary adherence, because this is something that I am going through right now, and I think that there will be a bunch of people who could benefit from this. So I am sitting down to eat a meal, and this meal is chicken, rice, and cabbage, and then I'm gonna have an apple with it. But what you will notice is that this chicken, rice, and cabbage looks unbelievably plain, and that's because it is. The only thing that's in this Tupperware is chicken breast with no seasoning, rice, cabbage, salt, and pepper, and that's literally it. And there will probably be a bunch of you guys that think, wow, that looks like the most boring, disgusting food ever. And it is boring. I wouldn't say it's disgusting. When I'm eating it, I'm not like, wow, this is disgusting. But I'm also not like, wow, this is the most delicious thing ever. But that's actually exactly why I have been having my food like this lately, and that's what I want to talk about. So for those of you guys who have been following along with my journey lately, you'll know that I've been cutting since the beginning of the year. And about a month or so ago, the cut was going very smooth, no issues with anything, no hunger, no nothing. And then about a month ago, about 6 months in, once I got to about the 40-pound mark lost, that's when the hunger started to creep in and started to bother me. And it was something that I was kind of dealing with on a daily basis. And what I noticed when the hunger started creeping in is that I started kind of going back to some of my older habits, where I started using a lot of low-calorie condiments and no-calorie seasonings and marinades and all of those other types of things to spice up my food. And what I actually noticed this year is that actually made my food focus and my hunger worse. What I noticed is that the more time that I spent trying to combat the hunger, the more that the hunger was actually like fighting back at me, kind of like, hypocritical, I guess that's the word, like not what you would expect. You would think the more that you try to get away from the hunger, the more that it doesn't bother you. But I found the exact opposite to be true. And what I noticed is that I was going to the grocery store. I go to the grocery store for chicken breast, and I was supposed to walk in, get chicken breast, and walk out. And I'd be in the grocery store for 30 minutes walking up and down all the aisles looking for the latest low-calorie condiment and the newest seasoning, or a seasoning that I haven't had yet, looking for the next diet hack that I could find that would help me adhere to my diet better. And like I said, the more time that I spent trying to find the next secret, the more that the hunger and cravings started to bother me. And what I realized is that no matter how many of these low-calorie condiments that I use, no matter how many of these high-fiber this or protein that I eat, the hunger doesn't go away. The hunger comes from the fact that the calories are restricted. So no matter what it is that you're kind of fitting in your calorie restricted diet, at the end of the day, your calories are restricted. And I think that is going to be the main thing that's triggering the hunger in the first place. So what I did, instead of putting more thought and emphasis into my food and trying to make my food spice it up and jazz it up and make it taste better, I actually did the opposite. And I tried to put as little time into thinking about food as I can, and as little time into making my food taste good as I could. And I actually have found that my hunger has been like literally non-existent for the course of the past like 4 weeks. It's been very easy, like almost alarmingly easy for me to stick to my diet, honestly, compared to where my hunger was about a month ago. And I truly feel like that has come from me distancing myself from all of the diet hacks and everything. Again, I know I've said this a lot in this video, but the more effort that I put into focusing on making my food taste better, the more that I was basically teasing myself. I would sit down to eat a meal and I would be like, wow, this meal tastes so good. And then the next thing that I know, the meal is gone. And I was not satisfied by that. I was like, man, like that food tasted really good and I want more of it. And I just found that the more that I jazzed up my food and the better that I made my food taste, the more that the hunger and the cravings would bother me. Now on the flip side and the complete opposite of that, this is horrible advice for those of you guys who are bulking. And I don't do this when I'm bulking. When I'm bulking, I marinate my foods, and I use, not only do I use sugar-free condiments, I'll use full sugar condiments just to help me get the calories in. Because when I'm bulking and I'm eating 5,000 calories per day, the amount of food that I have to eat on a day-to-day basis is annoying. It gets annoying and frustrating after a while. And I find that the more that I make my food taste better in the bulk, the easier that it goes down. So I actually do the complete opposite of this when I'm bulking. But when I'm dieting, as of late, I have noticed that the more boring that I make my food, the better that it's been for me to adhere. I eat my food and I don't really have any emotions about it. You know, I'm happy to be eating because I'm hungry, but I'm not like, wow, this is the most delicious thing ever. And I'm also not like, wow, this is disgusting. I'm literally just like, I'm eating food right now. And that's really all that I've been thinking about food over the course of the past month or so. So again, I know that everybody thinks about these things differently, and I'm sure there's going to be some people who are going to hear this and be like, this is terrible advice. This is a one-way ticket to disordered eating. But the way that I think about it, if you're going to the grocery store and walking up and down the aisles for 30 minutes looking for the latest prep secret, and you're putting all these chemical, high fiber, this and that, like, I think that's disordered eating. So the definition of disordered eating is relative. Everybody is going to have a different definition of what that is. So I don't want to have that conversation in the comment section. All that I'm doing with this video is sharing something that has worked very well for me. And I would assume that there are people out there who it would work with very well as well. So hopefully you guys can take some value from this.